This is the new Hyundai i20 and it's had a pretty radical makeover. So what's new and should you buy one? We're going to find out. And if you want to save thousands of pounds off small car rivals to the Hyundai i20 like the Ford Fiesta, VW Polo and the i20, then make sure you go to whatcar.com. This is the third generation Hyundai i20 and these are the headline changes. Well, there's now mild hybrid engine tech to boost performance and efficiency. There's also been a pretty substantial redesign. And the dimensions are different as well, so it's lower than before, but it's also wider and longer. And the main benefit of those dimension changes are in these seats back here, because you can see I've got absolutely loads of room. Plenty of leg room, headroom's still pretty good as well. You can fit two 6-footers back here relatively comfortably, and you could even get a third in more comfortably than you could in many other rivals in this class. And really, when you look at what else this car's up against, it's only really a Honda Jazz that is bigger in the back, and that's a massive car in this class. So very impressive back here, but yeah, up front things aren't quite so impressive. Not from a space perspective, but from, well, I mean, just look at it. The materials are cheap feeling and they're shiny and hard, plastics all over the place. A Polo and indeed many other small car interiors are finished nicer and have better quality materials as well. So it's not particularly inspiring to say the least, but if you go for top spec ultimate trim in your i20, then you do get a two-tone finish on the dashboard, which I guess just lifts things a little bit, but otherwise not particularly inspiring at all. And look at the wobble on the center console down there. This infotainment system is good though. This entry-level SE Connect model gets an 8-inch screen, but from mid-spec premium trim and up, you get a bigger 10.3-inch screen. Whatever one you choose, it's fundamentally a decent system. It can be a bit laggy, but the sharp graphics look smart, and there's also a row of shortcut buttons to hop between the menus. Every i20 gets this 10.25-inch digital driver display, and it's really good. Crisp, clear, nice graphics. It doesn't, though, let you put the map and navigation in the middle of the screen like you can in some other rival systems. And the driving position is fine. There's loads of adjustment in the steering wheel and in the seat. Although for me, the top of the steering wheel does just cut off a bit of the driver display. It won't be the same for everyone, but it's definitely worth trying before you do end up buying an i20. And there's no adjustable lumbar support in the seat either, which is a bit of a pain, as is the fact that you've got a lever rather than a wheel to adjust the angle of this backrest. With a wheel, you can just be exactly precise and accurate with the very place you want to put it. But with a lever, you've got to kind of slot it into one of the places that they give you. So that's not ideal. But apart from that, apart from a slightly drab and uninspiring look and feel to the interior, it's fine in the new i20. Now, we've said how impressive rear seat space is, but the boot isn't quite such a standout in the class. It's still decent though, and at 352 litres, it's bigger than the Fiestas and similarly roomy to the i20 and Polo. There's also a handy height adjustable boot floor. Now, one of the main features in this new i20 is the mild hybrid engine tech that it gets. But it really is very mild. So it's one of those 48-volt systems that lots of cars are having now, and it means that you can't travel on electric power alone. For example, you can't plug in the battery to charge it up, but it is there to give a little boost in performance and to help fuel efficiency, and it also gives it a really smooth stop-start engine system as well. On the performance side of things, this i20 is only available with a 99 brake horsepower, 1 litre, 3-cylinder petrol engine, and it's a nice peppy unit that's strong around town. Certainly got enough power there for longer motorway journeys as well. And if you were to compare it to the Ford Fiesta 1 litre EcoBoost 95 or the i20 1 litre TSI 95, then this engine certainly doesn't feel lacking. Although, it's worth pointing out that pretty much every other rival offers a wider choice of engines. At the minute, this is the only one that you get in the i20. As for fuel economy, the i20 is okay, but not exceptional. In our true MPG testing, it recorded a result of 47.8 miles per gallon, a figure you should achieve in real-world driving conditions. So, for all the talk of mild hybrid technology, a VW Polo without that kind of tech was actually a bit more efficient on the same test. For the best fuel economy in the class, you'll want a full hybrid, like the 59.9 miles per gallon Toyota Yaris or the 56 miles per gallon Honda Jazz. The ride is a little firm around town and at lower speed, so you'll find a Polo more comfortable there. But on the motorway, the i20 really shines. It's got a very nice high-speed ride that's well planted, really stable, and it's so good that actually if you had a big choice of small cars in front of you and you had loads of motorway miles to do, you could certainly do a lot worse than pick the i20 to do those miles in. But you may not feel particularly inspired if you undertake that journey in the i20, because the handling is fine, but it's certainly nothing to trouble the really sweet handling, brilliant to drive Ford Fiesta for class honours here. There's plenty of grip, and because of that firm suspension setup, there really isn't much body lean if you carry a bit of pace through corners. But the steering is okay, it's a little vague around the straight ahead just at centre, but once you're past that, it does feel fairly eager and sharp when you turn in, but still, it doesn't have the sweet balance and the brilliant steering of the Ford Fiesta. And similarly, this gearbox isn't particularly great either. There is a 7-speed automatic gearbox, but we've got a 6-speed manual here, and it's okay. It's not one of the best manual gearboxes in the class because the Ford's got a really snappy and slick gearbox. The Polo and the Ibiza are really good too, really super slick. But in the i20, this just feels a bit notchy, so it's not particularly enjoyable to interact with in a way that some other gearboxes in this class certainly are. It's also on the pricey side, costing a similar amount to a Fiesta and a little more than a Polo. It's also quite a bit more expensive than an Ibiza or Fabia. The i20 is in a class with absolutely loads of competition, and there aren't really many areas where it properly stands out. But that doesn't mean that it isn't a very good car, because it's got great room in the back, it's got a peppy and efficient engine, a really nice high-speed ride too, and some people will just like how it looks. It's just a shame then that the interior is as uninspiring as it is, and that it isn't a bit more memorable to drive. But if you want to save thousands of pounds off cars like the i20, then make sure you go to whatcar.com. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, give it a like. Any thoughts about the car, leave a comment below, and make sure you're subscribed as well, because we have loads of new videos coming out every week.